Okay, so the topic that we're going to talk about is still the dimensional shapes, and we're going to specifically talk about word problems and algebra. Okay, so here I have a couple of what do you call it, examples on how we can see word problems of two-dimensional shapes. Okay, so I'm gonna go to number one here. A land is 20-meter long and 50-meter wide. If the cost to build fences is 165,000 rupiah per meter, how much is the cost to build fences around the land? Okay, so before you do anything with story problems, the first thing that you really need to do is to read the question very carefully. That's the first thing that you need to do. The second one is to take information, what important information that you can take from the question, and then maybe you can like make it into underline or make a highlight, right? And then try to identify what it is. For example, is it the length? Is it the width? Is it the perimeter? Is it the area? That's the first thing you do. The second one is to see what is being asked. Okay. So, and then, okay, for example, if it is asking about area, so you might want to see the formulas that you have listed. I mean, like the list of formulas of the area of two-dimensional shapes, right? If it is perimeter, then yeah, you can use the formula if you want. But if remember what I said before, it doesn't mean that you have to. I mean, like you don't really need to memorize them. You only need to know how to use them. Okay, so it's good for you to memorize that, but if you're having difficulties like me in memorizing things, you can just like see. Yeah. Okay. So let's do number one here. So I'm gonna highlight some information that is very important in this question. Okay. The first one is because we're talking about mathematics, of course, numbers does matter. So I'm gonna highlight some of the numbers here. I'm gonna highlight this one here, the 20, and I'm gonna highlight this 15. And I'm gonna highlight also the this one. This is also numbers. Okay, per meter. Okay, and then I am going to highlight one more thing, is going to be this guy over here. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you one by one ya. Saya akan nanya ya guys, satu-satu. I'm gonna start from Ali. Ali, what do you think is the 20 and the 15? Okay, so what do you think is the shape of this land? What is the shape, Ali? Kira-kira bentuknya apa? Is it like a square, or is it a triangle, or is it a circle, or a trapezoid? What do you think?
Maybe square, Pak.
Square?
Maybe, I don't know.
Square, okay, thank you, Ali. I'm gonna go to Nadia. Nadia, what do you think? Do you think it's a square, or is it other shape of two-dimensional? Nadia, bagaimana? Halo, Nadia, apakah ada di situ? Oke, saya mau ke Kiko dulu deh. Kiko, do you agree with Ali? Or do you have different?
I think it's a rectangle, Pak.
Okay, it is a rectangle. Okay, so how do you know it's a rectangle? Why do you think that it is a rectangle?
Because it has a different length and height.
Okay, very good. Okay, that's a very good reason. Yes, it is actually a rectangle because we know that we have 20-meter long and 50-meter wide. Okay, so like we have a length and the width, and both of them are different. But if they're the same, then we can say it's a square. But because they are different, then we can say that this is a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a rectangle now. There we go. All right. Okay, so it said that we have a 20-meter long and 15-meter wide. Yeah, so I can write this down as information like this. Okay, so I'm gonna write down 20 over here, right? And then 15 over here. Okay, so again, one of the also the most important thing that if you encounter something like this, if you can illustrate what's happening in the question, illustrate it. For example, like this one, right? So you need to identify, oh, what is the shape actually? Oh, it is a rectangle. If I say it's a square, it's not a square because 20, if I have one side is 20 and the other side is 15, then it's not a square because square, it needs to have all the same length side. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, so and then the second sentence here, if the cost to build fences is 165,000 per meter. Okay, so what do you think that we can connect with from this information, from the information that we have in here, like this drawing here, to this, to building fences? Because we have talked about area and perimeter. What do you think in building fences? Is it connected to perimeter or is it connected to area? What do you think? Sharon?
Pak, can I try?
Yeah, of course, Sharon. Yeah.
Perimeter.
Okay, why do you think it's perimeter? It's not area. What do you build fences? What do you build fences? If this is the land, what do you build the fences?
You build it around the sides, like lines.
Yes. Okay, that's the reason why we're connecting this to the perimeter. Okay, thank you very much, Sharon. Yeah, so it's connected to the perimeter because again, when you build fences, yeah, logically you will build fences like in here, right outside of this, right? And if we're just talking about that outside, means that we're talking about perimeter. If you put something inside, for example, like you're making like what do you call it, tile, for example, ya, apa namanya, keramik gitu ya. Nah, itu baru kita like talking about area, but this one is not building something inside, but instead we're just like making a fences, like, which means that it's going to be around the shape. So again, we're talking about perimeter. Oh, that is going to be the perimeter. Okay, so that's the second thing that we have from the question. Okay, so again, it's very important for us to analyze what the question mean is. Okay, so I said the cost to build fences. Oh, perimeter. Okay, we want to build fences over here, right? And then per meter, the cost is this amount of money. That's the cost. But which means that we need to find the perimeter first, right? Okay, I'm gonna go to Arkan. Arkan, what do you think is the perimeter of that shape? Arkan, hello.
Wait, Pak.
Yeah, okay. If you want to see the formula, guys, you can see it in your maybe from Google, or if you have it on your note, that's going to be even better because we're going to talk a lot about this, yeah, perimeter area for this topic. Okay, another question is, the question is, I'm not asking about like what is the perimeter, but instead of like how do you calculate the perimeter? Okay, based on the concept that we have already learned. Aruni, silakan.
70.
Okay, what do you get the 70, Aruni?
20 tambah 15 tambah 20 tambah 15.
Okay, thank you very much. So basically you just add all of the sign, right? Basically that. Remember, guys, you don't really need to, I mean, like, it isn't really necessary for us to, for now, yeah, to use the formula. If you don't want to, that's fine, no problem. And instead of like using the formula, we can just like, oh, know the concept, just add all of the sign, right? So we know this is 20, this is 15, this is also going to be 20, and this is also going to be 15. So just add all of the numbers. So 20 plus 15 plus 20 plus 15, what that will be equal to 70 meters. Okay, so that is going to be the perimeter. Okay, question is, how much is the cost to build fences around the land? Because we want to find the price to build this fences, like all of them, right? The question is, what is the cost? So how can we connect that question into this last information over here? Nikki, what do you think? Niki, kira-kira itu diapain ya nih 165.000 ini per meter? Ini dia nggak ada ya. Gimana Niki?
Bingung Pak saya Pak.
Oke, saya pakai bahasa Indonesia ya. Oke. Jadi gini, kita pengen bikin pagar ya kan, yang mengelilingi seluruh tanah ini gitu ya. Ya kan? Pagar berarti kan bikinnya di sini ya kan? Setuju ya semuanya ya, bikinnya di luar situ ya. Nah, artinya kan pertama nih harga bikin pagar itu harganya 165.000 per meter. Jadi 1 meter pagar itu harganya 165.000. Sedangkan kamu mau bikin pagarnya sepanjang berapa tadi nih? Perimeternya 70 ya. Nih. Kalau harga 1 meter 165.000, sedangkan kita pengen bikinnya 70 meter, berarti total harga untuk bikin pagarnya berapa dong? Saya masih ke Niki. Niki gimana?
Itu dikali bukan, Pak?
Dikali. Yang mana dikali yang mana?
165.000 sama 70.
Oke, ya. Paham yang logikanya ya? Oke, gitu ya. So it's 165,000 multiplied by 70. Again, because this is the price of 1 meter. And we want to build 70 meter, right? So you only need to multiply. So 165,000 multiply that by 70. Oke, siapa yang pegang kalkulator? Silakan guys. 165 kali 70 berapa ya? Gonna get my calculator. My calculator.
Bapak.
Berapa?
11.550.
11.550 kok murah sih? Nolnya kurang kali. Nolnya kurang banyak. Nolnya tambahan berapa lagi nih?
4, Pak.
Tambahin 4?
3
lagi. Oke. Jadi coba baca ulang nih berapa nih? 11 apa? 11.000? 11 apa?
550.000.
11-nya 11 apa?
Ribu, Pak.
11.000? 11.000. Ini
lupa, Pak.
11 juta.
Oh iya.
Iya, 11 juta ya. Oke, 11.550.000 rupiah. Oke. So, mahal ya. Bikin pagar 70 meter. Oke. So yeah, this is one of the illustration of one story problems that you might going to encounter in this topic. Yeah. So again, guys, let me say it again that whenever you see a story problem, the first thing that you need to do is to highlight, to read the question fully, yeah, like complete the complete sentence of the question. Secondly, to take information from the question. What information that you get from the question? For example, like the one that I highlight with this yellow, the blue one, and then the what they call the pink one, and also the green one, right? So those are the keywords or the values of something that we can find useful to answer the question. That's the second one. The third one is to see the question, what is actually being asked. And here the question is the cost, yeah, the total cost, yeah. Harga totalnya berapa untuk bikin fences itu berapa, right? And then after that, you analyze if you can illustrate again, if you can illustrate this into a picture, illustrated, it's going to be very, very helpful, ya. Especially when we're talking about geometry. Kalau kita ngomongin tentang geometri ya, misalnya segitiga segala macam, mending digambar ya, pakai coret-coretan, ya. After that, ya, tolong ini ditulis ya guys, karena saya pastikan kuis akan keluar soal-soal kayak gini, ya. Oke, saya ulang lagi. Oke, so the next one is to connect. What can we use? Right, like formulas maybe or concept. What are the concept or the formulas that we can use to help us to answer the question? In this question here, number 1, you're building fences. Like Sharon said before, it is connected with perimeter because perimeter is actually just the distance around the shape, right? So because we're talking about just the outer line of the shape, so we're talking about perimeter. So find the perimeter first because we're going to find the total length or the total length of the fences, and then use to multiply that by that 165 because that is 1 meter. For 1 meter you have to pay 165,000, so 70 meter you only need to multiply, and then you get the answer. Okay, any question before I go to number 2? Okay, again guys, please write this down because yeah, this is going to be quite important for you guys for one of the example of story problems. Okay, let's go to number 2. Let's go. Here we go. Okay, number 2. A lawn is 20 meter long and 10 meter wide. Okay, again, I'm going to highlight some information in here. gonna use one color, maybe 20-meter long and 10-meter wide. Okay, long and 10-meter wide. Okay, if a gardener charges 20 points, sorry, it should be point. Yeah, it's not comma. My bad. Should be point. Yeah. If a gardener charges $20.5 to maintain a square meter of the lawn, what is the cost to maintain the whole lawn? Okay, so again, we need to read the question carefully and then try to find what that is. Okay, I'm gonna go to Danish. Danish, what do you think is the shape of this lawn? Because we're talking about lawn. What's the shape? Danish.
Halo, Danish.
Danish palanya doang kelihatan tidak bergerak. Yang jangan itu adalah gambar Frieza. Raihan dulu deh, Raihan. What do you think is the shape? Ini bentuk. Kenapa Raihan? Maaf nggak kedengeran. Ulangi lagi.
Sama kali Pak ya, sama yang sebelumnya.
Benar, sama. Sama itu apa ya? Sebelumnya apa ya, Bang? Oke, ya sama ya. Oke, wah Elia sudah ngasih jawaban nih saya. Oke, kita lihat ya, Elia sudah ngasih jawaban nih. Ya, oke. Oke, so the same exact for this one ya, it's coincidentally ya, kebetulan gitu ya, sama gitu ya, with 20 meter long and 10 meter wide. So I'm gonna draw that. Oops, sorry, should not be using that. I'm using this one. Aduh, sebentar ya guys, ini kok error. Coba mati kudasai. Okay, so I'm gonna go the shape and then okay, here we go. So this is a shape that we are yeah, this not scale ya, not to scale nih ya, bisa berapa aja. So the width, the lawn, sorry, the length is 20 meters. So this is 20 meter, and the wide is 10 meter. Okay. So if we're gonna charge us 25 to maintain a square meter of the lawn, what is the cost to maintain the whole lawn? Okay, so another question is, saya mau ke Bunga. Bunga, what do you think it is connected to? Is it perimeter or area? Bunga. Area, yes, very good. Yeah, because again, guys, when we in here, it is said that to maintain a square meter, because we know that when we want to calculate area, right, you will get like centimeter square, meter square as the unit, right? So this is this sign here, right? The index. This is read square, right? Centimeter square, meter square, and this is a square meter. So that's why we're talking about the area. Okay, so I'm gonna write area over here. Okay. Okay, since we know that the formulas of the area of a rectangle, it's just like base times height or the length times width. It's up to you. It doesn't matter, but it's just like the base and the height. Or just remember that the base and the height needs to be perpendicular. So you only need to multiply the 20 and 10. So this 20 times 10, that will be equals to 200 meters square. Okay, that is for the area. Now we're going to go to the main question, which is the cost. Because we know 1 square meter is 20.5, then 200 meters square is just multiply that with this, right? So the cost, the total cost will be 200 meters square, multiply that by $20.5, which is going to be equals to berapa? 41,000 ya? 4,100, is it? Sorry guys. Yes, dollar. Okay, ya, Elia tadi benar sekali ya. Thank you very much ya, Elia. Yes. And there we go. We have the question. We have the final answer. Okay. Ya, saya ulang lagi ya guys. One more time. Ini Eric baru datang. Okay. One more time. Okay. So there are a couple things that you need to do when you are encountering a story problem. Okay, please write this down ya. Ini tolong ditulis ya guys, karena saya pastikan sekali lagi, saya pastikan soal seperti ini akan keluar di quiz ya. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is you read carefully. You read all of them, all information, not being too hasty in reading. Okay, pelan-pelan aja bacanya, nggak usah buru-buru. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is to identify, right? To identify and then maybe highlighting, right? Like kayak gini ya, misalnya di garis bawah segala macam. Identify what do you get from the question. Identify the given information, right? And then 3, try to illustrate it into a picture, for example, right? For this, right? Because I didn't give you the picture, the image, right? The illustration. Okay. And then 4, and then what is being asked? So use, right? Use any concept or formulas to answer the question. Okay, so these are the 4 basic steps. Okay, it's just from me. Yeah, me personally, this is the 4 what they call 4 basic step if you want to answer any given word problem. Okay, first read carefully all of them, all the information. 2, to identify the given information. For the example is the one that I highlight, like for number 1 is 20-meter long, 15-meter wide, the cost, and then to build 165,000 per meter, and so on. Okay. 3 is to illustrate. If you can draw that, draw it, and then put any values on the image that you're drawing, right? And then the last one, use any concept or formulas to answer the question, and then just answer the question by using systematic way. Okay, so these are the 4 steps. Okay, any question before I go to the next one? The next one is about algebra. Okay, let's go to the next one. Thank you very much. Okay, number 3. Okay, perimeter of a square is 40 centimeter. Calculate the area. Okay, so I'm gonna draw because it said that again. Read the question carefully and then highlight what is going on here. We have this 40 as the perimeter. Okay, and the question is, what is the area? That's the question. Okay, so again, the second one, after you read the question, you identify, oh, that 40 is the perimeter, and then you're asking about the area. Okay, and then draw. Okay, draw the shape in here a square. So we're going to draw a square. Salah lagi. Begini ya. Oops, nggak keluar sih. Okay, here we go. So we're going to draw a square. Okay, it's not a square. I'm gonna draw it again. I'm gonna draw it here, yeah. Make it. Yeah, okay, kira-kira gini ya. Okay, and then we know that the perimeter is equals to 40 centimeters. What is the area? Okay, so does anyone remember what is the formula for the area of a square? Akasha, what is the formula? Remember?
Side times side.
Okay, side times side. So we need the side, right? We need the side length to be able to answer this question. We need the side length. Okay, question. Do we have the side length yet? We don't, right? The one that we have is the perimeter. So the question is, how can we connect the perimeter with the side length to be able to find the area? Okay, so which means that we need to also know the formula for the perimeter of a square. Okay, Akasha lagi. Akasha, what is the formula for the perimeter of a square?
Side time, not times, but side at side at side at side.
Okay,
Or
so
side times 4.
yeah, side times 4. Okay, so I'm gonna use that formula 4 times side. Yeah, so we can connect that. This is actually right, can be connected to the side. So this is like side, 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 right? Side plus side plus side plus side is 4 side, right? 4s. So which means that I can actually write this as an equation, right? The equation that we are going to write down is P, because we know P is 4s, and that 4s is equals to 40. Okay, I'm gonna highlight this, guys, for you. This is algebra, right? 4s equals to 40. So how can we find the value of s? Aruni.
Maybe 40 divided by 4.
Yes, it is 40 divided by 4. Thank you, Aruni. So it's 40 divided by 4. Remember, guys, when we're talking about algebra, anything you do on one side of the equal sign, you do the exact same thing on the other side. And the goal is to make the variable alone in one side. So if I rewrite it again, so 4s equals to 40. So our goal is to make this s alone in one side of the equal sign. It's not alone yet because it has 4. So we need to get rid of that 4 by what? By dividing that by 4, because this is a multiplication, right? 4s is 4 multiplied by s. So we divide this by 4 to make it, come on. I mean, it's going to be 1, right? So whatever, if I divide left side with 4, you also need to divide the right side with 4. So so we can just like, oh, I don't need to write down that 4 in front of the s, right? So wait, sebentar ya guys. Duh, ini masih suka error ya. Okay, sebentar. So you don't need to write this down, and you get the same exact thing like this, right? Okay, and then just divide. Okay, 40 divided by 4 is equals to 10. Okay, oh, that will be equals to 10 in centimeter, yeah. Okay, so now we have the s. Because we have the s, now we can find the a, right? So we can write down the a again. The formula of Aria is s times s. And since we know that the s is 10, so it's just 10 times 10, which is equals to 100 centimeters squared. Okay, so again, guys, writing down the information given from the question is very crucial. Again, we need to understand on how the systematic way on how to solve any kind of problems. And this is how. Okay, any question for number 3? Yeah, okay, let's go to number 4. Okay, previously we know the perimeter and then we want to find the area, right? Now we know the area and then we want to find the perimeter for number 4, yeah? So basically we're doing the same thing. It's just the opposite operation from number 3, right? Okay, so again, I'm gonna highlight some information here. So the area of a square is 81. So the area is 81 centimeters squared. So actually we have this information here, which is the shape of the two-dimensional shape. And then the question is calculate the perimeter. So you're going to find the perimeter. Okay. Okay, here we go. So again, we know that it is a square, so draw a square. Okay, I'm gonna draw a square in here. Oh my goodness. Salah mulu. Ya, error lagi sebentar. Oke, sebentar ya. Cekaman. Chips. Oh, okay. Okay, let's say this is a square. And we know that we have 81 centimeters squared inside of the shape, right? So this is the area of the square. Okay, and then we can write down A equals to 81 centimeters squared. And since we know previously A is S times S, right? So I can write down S times S equals to 81 centimeters squared. So a number multiplied by itself, you get 81, right? So, or I can write down like this, because actually you haven't learned about index, but yeah, it's no problem. So this is like S squared, right? Equals to 81 centimeters squared. So if you have a square, although I haven't taught you this, but I'm going to taught you now. I'm going to tell you now. When you want to cancel a power, ya, pangkat gitu ya, itu tinggal dikasih akar, ya. So instead, I'm gonna, sorry, it should be like this, yeah. Because if you have a square root and a square, it will be canceled. So that will be just S. Okay. Okay, what is the square root of 81? What is the square root of 81? Danish. Tadi belum jawab, Danish. Are you there, Danish? Yeah. What is the square root of 81, Danish? Oh, Danis. Oh ya, silakan.
9 kali 9 bukan, Pak?
Ya, 9 ya, betul. Yes. Oke, okay, thank you. Oke, okay, ya. So 9 kali 9 sama dengan 81, berarti S-nya ya 9 gitu. Nah, gitu. We haven't done yet because we only have found the S. Again, why do we need to find the S? Because in order to find the perimeter, we need that S, right? So we know that we have this formula over here, right? P is equals to 4S. So by using that information, right? So the P will be, because we know that that is 4 times S, and we know that the S is 9, so 4, the perimeter is 4 times 9, which is going to be 36 centimeter. And there you go, you have the final answer. Okay, so this is, again, guys, I'm going to make sure that this kind of question will be on the quiz. So yeah, write it down, yeah? Especially the method, the process of working, yeah? Because although we will get maybe the same question, but I will make sure that the values are going to be different. For example, this is 81. What if I have 100 or 49 or something? Yeah, ask the area and then calculate the perimeter, right? Okay, any question before I go to the last question? Oh yeah, only 5. Dikit kan? Hari ini hanya 5 saja. Habis itu udah selesai. Tapi saya kasih latihannya. Okay, number 5 ya. Any question for number 4? No? Okay, let's go to the last question for today's lesson before I give you the exercise. Okay. Okay, perimeter of a rectangle is 120 centimeter. If the length is 3 times than the width, calculate the length, the width, and the area. Okay, here we go. This is more challenging because we have a lot of questions here, the length, the width, and the area, right? So again, like I said before, guys, first read the question carefully, complete a sentence until you get into the full stop of the last sentence, and then identify what you get from the question. So I'm going again to highlight some information that we can get from the question. Okay, the perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so that will be a rectangle. You can just like, oh, I'm gonna draw a rectangle. I'm gonna draw a rectangle. Oops, sorry, it's not a rectangle. How can I? Okay, you go. Okay, a rectangle. Just it doesn't have to be the exact side that we want, but just draw a random rectangle. It's fine. Okay, and then the perimeter is 120. So okay, that is the second information that we get. So that will be P equals to 120 centimeter. Okay, that is this guy over here. Okay, so we're done with the first sentence. Okay, the second sentence. If the length is 3 times, the length is 3 times the width. The length, so I'm gonna write down what is the length. This is the length and this is the width. Okay. The length is 3 times the width. Calculate the length, the width, and the area. Okay, so I can write an equation actually. If I write this down as an equation in algebra, so the length is L, right? Length is L. And then is equal, right? 3 times the width, 3W. Okay, so that sentence, we can write it in algebra like this. Length is 3 times the width, so L equals to 3W. Okay, so because we know that the L is equals to 3W, we can actually do something like this. So I'm not going to write down L in here, right? I can substitute that with 3W, right? Oh, okay. So let's do that. I'm going to change that. Instead of writing down L, I'm going to write that down as 3W. Okay. So if that 3W, so this is also 3W, and this is also W, right? Because this one is same as with this one, and this one is going to be the same with that one over there. Okay, so question, how can we connect this with the illustration that we get over here to find one variable that we have in the illustration? Okay, silakan. Siapa yang mau coba? Ya, silakan, ada yang mau coba? Raihan, mungkin Raihan? Itu gimana ya?
Ya, Pak.
Kira-kira gimana tuh cara nyari W-nya? Kalau udah ada gambar kayak gini, terus kita udah tahu juga perimeternya. Oke, perimeter apa sih? Basic concept lagi ya guys. What is the basic concept of perimeter? Gimana? Raihan gimana Raihan?
Saya nggak tahu, Pak.
Aduh, masa harus diulang lagi sih? Ah ya, ada Rudia. Oke ya, saya ulang lagi. Tolong dengarkan baik-baik ya. Tolong dengarkan baik-baik. Oke. Jadi kalau kita mau cari perimeter, itu kan tinggal tambah-tambahin aja kan, ya nggak? Nih parameter, misalnya saya mau cari nih parameternya ini kelilingnya gitu kan. Artinya kan saya tinggal tambahin aja ini, tambah ini, tambah ini, tambah ini. Oke, Raihan gimana?
Iya, Pak.
Gitu ya, ngerti ya Raihan ya. Oke, semuanya tolong ya diperhatikan ya guys. Oke. So it's just adding all of the sign, right? And then we know that the perimeter is 120. Ya, tadi Ari ini udah kasih jawaban, thank you. Yeah, so P is going to be, if I start from here, oh, so that will be 3W, and then add that with W, add that with 3W, and then add that with W. And because we know that the perimeter is 120, so that will be equals to 120. Oke, sampai sini ada yang nggak ngerti nggak? Tanya guys, saya akan jelasin ulang kalau belum ngerti. Silakan. Gimana? Ini ada yang senyum-senyum nih, senyum-senyum kenapa ya? Lagi chat sama orang apa lagi ngetawain saya? Gimana guys? Paham ya? Oke, ini ada yang ngechat nih. Siapa yang ngechat ya? Maafkan saya ketiga ya, nggak apa-apa, ada no problem ya. Oke, let's go to the next one. Okay, so we have that as an equation, right? So this is an equation. Oh iya tuh bener ya, one variable ya. So we can use that to find the value of the W. Okay, I'm gonna go to siapa lagi ya? Bunga dulu deh, Bunga. How do you think we're going to solve the W with this equation here that I highlight with yellow? Diapain dulu ya, kira-kira? Ini bisa kita simplify nggak? Saya masih di Bunga ya. Gimana tuh cara simplify-nya? Atau jadi berapa? 3W plus W plus 3W plus W. Gimana? Gimana? Kiko boleh deh Kiko, silakan.
Saya Pak.
Ya silakan Kiko.
Yang ini kan Pak.
Ya yang saya tanya ini simplify-nya jadi berapa nih? Jadi apa? Sorry.
8 itu W ya Pak.
Ya W, 3W tambah W tambah 3W tambah W. Jadi berapa tadi?
8W.
Oke, 8W ya. Karena ini kan 3 tambah 1 tambah 3 tambah 1. Oke, 8W sama dengan 120. Masih di Kiko. Kiko lanjut gimana nih? Bisa sama dengan?
Berarti 120 bagi 8 ya Pak?
Yes, oke. Langsung aja berapa nih ininya? 120 bagi 8.
15 Pak.
15. Oke. Terima kasih banyak Kiko ya. 15 cm ya. So here we go. We have the width. Oh, yes. We have one information. We have the width. Okay, so checklist that we have that. And then we also need to find the length and the area. We cannot find the area without the length, right? So the first thing that we need to do after finding the width is finding the length. And we know that the length is this guy over here, right? L equals to 3W. We can use that because we have already know what is the value of W. And so we can write that down as, so which means that the L is equals to 3W. And since we know that the W is 15, so that will be 3 times 15. And then that will be 45 centimeters. And there you go, you have the length, right? And the last question is find the area. Okay, so checklist the length, now find the area. And we know that the area of this rectangle is just like length times width. And we know the length is 45 and the width is 15. So you only need to multiply that number and then you will get equals to 675 centimeter square. Okay, so these are 5 examples question that will definitely come out in the quiz. And yes, this is actually can be used in a real life application. And I'm gonna give you a lot of that. Yeah, real life application in the story problems in which you can use algebra, the concept of algebra, the concept of perimeter and Aria to solve any kind of question. Okay, before I give you the exercise for today, is there any questions? Belum? Oke, now I'm gonna give you berapa soal ya? Mau berapa soal, guys? Aruni mau 10 katanya. Y-nya berapa, guys? 5 kebanyakan nggak? 5 kebanyakan nggak? 5 kebanyakan? Apa? Kok diem aja sih, kebanyakan nggak? 5 is it too much, guys? Too many? Okay, I'm gonna start one dulu ya. Saya coba satu dulu. Okay. Wait, I'm gonna copy the question from here. I actually have the question over here. Oke. Kok pada keluar sini? Jangan keluar dong. Oke. Oh ya, guys, please get your exercise book ya. Oke. Exercise. Number 1. Oke. Teks aja ya. Number 1. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is going to be the first question. Okay, this is easy, right? Please write down the question and then write down any information that is given from here. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, yeah. Use 16 maybe. Yeah, okay. There you go. Okay, first question. Perimeter of a rectangle is 100 decimeter. If the length is 30 decimeter, calculate the area. Okay, so write the question first. Okay, write the question first. And then again, guys, illustrate what is happening here. Again, you like highlight what is happening here. So I'm going to help you for number 1. Yeah, number 1, I'm going to help you. The first one is that we have a perimeter, which is 100 decimeter. And the shape is a rectangle. Okay. So it means that we can draw a rectangle, right? But we don't know the perimeter yet. Okay, salah lagi. Oke, sebentar. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna draw a rectangle. Okay, and then we know that the perimeter is equals to 100 decimeter. Okay, so this is the first thing that you need to do, right? Write down any given information in numerical information, like for example, perimeter. So write down P equals to 100 decimeter from the question, yeah? That's the first one. The second one is the length is 30. The length is 30. So we can draw that, or I can just write down here again. Length is equals to 30 decimeter. Or I can just like, oh, the length is over here. So this is 30. And since that it's 30, this is also going to be equals to 30. Okay. Next, the question is calculate the area. Okay, the question is what is the area? Okay, since we know that the formula to find the area is length times width, we have already know the length, but we haven't known the width yet, right? So what is the width? The width is over here and over here, right? So we have that too. And then again, guys, the same exact thing like the previous example, you connect this and this image, right? So yeah, so we can say that if I write this down as an equation, so that would be P equals to 30, right? This guy, plus W, this guy, plus 30, this guy, plus W for this guy equals to this guy, 100. And then you do the same exact thing to find the W, right? After you get the W, you can go back here to find the area. Okay, get it? Okay, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes maximum to do number 1. Yeah. I've helped you with this. So don't complain, okay? Silakan, guys. 5 minutes, maximum of 5, maybe. Yeah, 5. Check them on. Oh no. Hey guys, sambil ngerjain, boleh sambil nanya ya if you have any question. Just remember that it's going to be very important for you to understand the algebra concept since we will use it for the rest of the educational process, not just grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, 11, 12, up until you're going to college. You're also going to learn math. Okay, so for any, if you cannot escape from math, informal education, you cannot escape math. So everything has math on it. Yeah, has math. So be very careful that, no, I mean, like, try your best, right? And I will help. Okay, we, all the teachers in SPA, will help you if you have any difficulties. So ask question if you don't understand, so that you will understand if you get some help from other people. For example, like me as a teacher, or maybe if you have parents or older brother or sister, or maybe a private teacher, right? If you have, you can ask them, as long as you know that you are at least understand on how to solve algebraic equation. That's good. Okay, so that's the minimum skill that you really need to have in learning mathematics in a higher level after you go from primary. Okay, any question for number 1? Bisa semua ya? Okay, I'm gonna write down question number 2. Okay, question number 2. Okay, this time is a little bit more algebra again. Okay, I'm gonna write down over here, number 2. Okay, let's put number 1. See, number 2. Okay, so this is 2x plus 5. Okay, I'm gonna actually, okay, 2x plus 5. And the width is, wait, it's 2x minus 3. Okay, so I'll make it a little bit bigger. It's too small. Nomor 1 udah ya? Ya, silakan. Lanjut ke nomor 2. Okay, this is number 2, guys. Okay, the length of a rectangle is 2x plus 5. And if the perimeter of the rectangle is 76 centimeter, calculate the length, width, and the area. Now, calculate, saya tambahin ya, calculate the value of x. Calculate. Sorry, ini aja ABC aja ya. A, the value of x. B, the length. C, the width. And then the last one is D, which is going to be the area. Okay, so basically there are 4 questions in here for number 2. And all of them will be solved if you find the x first. Okay, ditulis dulu soalnya. Okay, I'm gonna help you again, guys, with illustrating what is happening in here. Okay, I'm gonna help you again, but this time I'm just going to help you with the illustration, not with the equation. You figure out yourself. Yeah. Okay, so because I have already given you. Okay, so here we go. We have the length of a rectangle is, it is a rectangle, right? The length of the rectangle is 2x plus 5. Okay, and then the width is 2x minus 2. So it is a rectangle, and we have length and width, but not in a whole number, but in an algebraic expression. Okay, so I'm gonna draw that. Go here again. Like this. Okay, so this is a rectangle. Okay, and we know that the length is 2x plus 5, so this is going to be 2x plus 5. Okay, and the width is 3x minus 2, so this is going to be 3x minus 2. Okay, and then we have the perimeter is 76, so I basically you're doing the same exact thing. Perimeter is 76. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is to write an equation, right? Write an equation on how that 2x plus 5 and 3x minus 2 is connected with the 76. So basically, guys, you're doing the same thing with this, the same exact thing, right? The only difference is that this is 30 NW, this one is 2x plus 5 and 3x minus 2. That's it, right? And then after that, you simplify the equation and then to find the value of x. And after you find the x, and in order to find the length, right? In order to find the length here, right? You only need to use this over here, right? Let's say, for example, x equals to 7, right? For example, yeah, I don't know what the x is. So for example, x equals to 7. So which means that the length will be 2 times 7 plus 5 because the x is equals to 7. That's it. The same also with the width, right? Use this one over here. Okay, after finding the length and the width, and then you can find the area, right? Okay, that's just it's an example. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's 7 because I haven't calculated yet. Now you calculate. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes for this one. 3 question aja ya. Ya, oke lah, 3 question lah. Nggak usah banyak-banyak. Okay, so again, those are the 3 questions about word problems and algebra. So again, guys, there are a couple of ways that I mentioned before, the step-by-step process on how to solve any kind of word problems. The first one is to read it carefully, and then 2, to identify what you get from the question to be able to answer the question, and then 3 is to illustrate that. If you make that into picture or image, you do that and write down any information given. And then the last one is to connect each of the information to answer the question. For example, you use formula of perimeter or area or anything. Yeah. Okay. So those are the 4 basic steps. And then the prior knowledge that you really need to master for in this grade is algebra. So if you master that, I will be making sure for you that you won't have any like difficulties. Challenges, yes, but difficulties, I don't think so. Okay. So again, if you need any help from me, you can just ask me through line message, and I will be gladly answering your question. Okay. Is there any question before I end the class? No? Okay, thank you very much for the participation. I'll be seeing you again on Friday. Thank you very much, guys. Annyeonghaseyo. Sayonara. Arigato. Dadah. Thank you, guys. Keluar aja tapi nggak ngomong terima kasih. Terima kasih, guys.